Good morning. We're on day 7, which means, sorry, the dogs have all just realized I've said hello. Guys, we're a week into our challenge, and we've spent a lot of time in this last week kind of clearing the decks and creating some space for us to think about what we really want to put in. And so today, our theme is Nourish. How are we nourishing ourselves, body, mind, and soul? Now, let's start with the body. Let's start with the physical nourishment. As equestrian athletes, we are, in fact, athletes, and we are the other half of the equestrian team. Now, I know that many equestrian athletes don't yet see themselves fully as athletes. We treat our horses like the athletes. We make sure our horse has all the right foods. We change the diet because we want them to have a lower sugar diet, or we want them to have more fiber or more protein or whatever. We make sure that they have all the right supplements because we want to make sure that they are correctly nourished in order to be able to do the job that we want them to do. And yet, many of us riders go to a show without having any breakfast, sometimes not even a proper breakfast. Sometimes we just grab a coffee and run off to the show. And by the time we do our class at 10 o'clock or 11 o'clock, we wonder why we're feeling so exhausted and depleted. Partly because we haven't nourished our bodies, we haven't put in anything to enable us to physically operate better and mentally as well. I mean, that's what food does for us. It helps us to think quicker and to think more clearly. So I want you to think about what you're doing to nourish your body at the moment. If you are morning, there comes one of my show moms. If you are a show mom, sorry, my little dog is completely going crazy this morning. Obviously, a very important subject, this nourishment. Show moms, also important. Your days are big. You need to make sure that you're nourishing your body well too. Let's think about what are we putting in at the moment. You know, as athletes, we have a saying that says what you put in is what you get out. So if you're not putting a lot in, you're not really going to be able to get a lot out physically. On the other hand, I've also seen some of my clients tucking into the chip twister rolls and the donuts and the slushies and all the exciting things that are sometimes available at shows. Again, what you're putting in is what you're getting out. And if you're loading yourself with high fat and high sugar, that's not always going to be beneficial for you. Morning, Dina. I'm glad that you are always a breakfast person. Also, I've also insisted, I don't always feel like breakfast, but I think it's such an important part of the day because it really sets ourselves up to be able to be well nourished so that we can continue into the day feeling well. So just today, really just think about what's going into your body. Try not to be too judgmental. If you're not like, if you haven't really got yourselves onto a great regime at the moment, just try and notice the places where you are feeding your body. What are you feeding your body? And perhaps have a bit of a look and a bit of a journal at why are you feeding your body that particular thing. So if you are a very healthy, clean eater and you're sort of minimizing the things that you're putting in and you're having an apple and you're hoping that's going to last for the day, just check in with yourself and compare that to what you're feeding your horse and ask yourself, is that good enough nourishment for what I need to do today? On the other hand, if you find yourself wanting to go to the bakery and load up with high processed white flour, again, just check in with yourself. What is that about? What am I feeding? What needs to happen here? And then, of course, what we really want to be able to do is to eat food that is as close to its original form as possible. So the fresh vegetables and the fresh food and whatever it is that whatever diet regime you choose to follow, perhaps diet is the wrong word, eating plan is the right word. Just check, what are you putting in on the body side? Now let's look at our mind. What are we putting into our minds on a daily basis? I know that a lot of us over the last time have become a little bit of the kind of bad news brigade, where we are feeding ourselves all those kind of negative stories that are in the news about pretty much anything and everything, if we follow the news much. And I do know a few people who are kind of obsessed with watching the news all day, every day. And let's be honest, what comes in from that kind of place is often not very nourishing in terms of what we're going to be able to put out. So if we think about what are the things we want to put into our mind, inspirational, motivational, the way that we talk to ourselves, we're going to learn as we go forward into next week, how important that really is and what a difference it makes. So the nourishment that we put into our mind is incredibly important. And we want to really think about, what am I consuming mentally today? The soul. So this for me is such an interesting place. I want to share a little story that's a personal story for me. A while ago, I was really struggling with finding my soul purpose, my joy. I was kind of like wandering around a little bit aimlessly and not finding very many places to feed my soul. And at one point I said, I was, going for a hike, and I happened to come across a tiny little bush. I think it was probably a weed, but it had these little yellow flowers on it. And I said, these yellow flowers are so happy and so full of sunshine. I'm going to make that a little bit of my soul food. So every time I see any kind of yellow flowers, I'm going to just remind myself that that is my soul food, to feed my soul with a little bit of joy. And at the time, I had to look far and wide to find a bush of yellow flowers. And suddenly, over the last few days, I have noticed that there are yellow flowers pretty much everywhere. I have been just, on my rides and on my walks, I've just been noticing that there are bushes bursting with yellow flowers almost everywhere. And that really feeds my soul. It's such a simple little exercise to do. But if you're looking for flowers, they don't have to be yellow, obviously, or you're looking for some sign of joy, and you actually cast your eyes around and try and find something that will really spark you and really make you feel happy, joyful, even if it's just for that little instant that you see it, that really starts to nourish your soul. So today is really a day about thinking about feasting, not necessarily all about the food, but how are we giving ourselves the feasts and the nourishment that we need for our body, mind, and soul. I hope you really take this one on and have some fun and have some deep, thoughtful moments about how you can bring more nourishment into your life in all three of those areas, body, mind, and soul. Enjoy today, and I will see you again tomorrow.